Welcome. I'm Tanim Ahmed, Special Correspondent of Dhaka Tribune. I have with me Afsan Chowdhury, journalist, researcher, and university professor. We will be discussing the Brahmanbaria's Nasim Nagar incident, where hundreds of Hindu homes have been destroyed, at least 100 people injured, and over a dozen temples vandalized. Um, some people have criticized strongly the ruling of Awami League, and some have even gone so far as to say, why did Awami League go to the length of maybe taking out the Muslim from Awami Muslim League? Might as well have kept it. You think that's fair criticism?
No, I don't think that's fair criticism. Awami Muslim League transition to Awami League has more to do with the separate electorate system that existed at that time. So once the separate electorate system went off, it was to the advantage of Awami League to change the name. But even before that, Awami League was already doing multi-community politics. Awami League was formed in 1949 as a continuation of Bengal Provincial Muslim League. After 1947, when Pakistan came into being, and East Pakistan, obviously the constituency of Awami Muslim League was largely what is East Pakistan or East Bengal, if you will, which ultimately became Bangladesh. That is unfair. But people are extremely angry and unhappy that the government took such a soft position on the extremists. And these extremists are up there for everyone to see. And these extremists did mobilize forces, did attack Hindu homes, did vandalize temples, and made everyone feel insecure. Now, the reason why people are saying it's Awami Muslim League is a sense of exclusion which the Hindu community in general is feeling in Bangladesh. And they have been feeling so for a very long time. It's largely about how the government responds to them. So each time there has been a sort of violence or anger, rage by the members of the majority community, the entire majority community obviously has to take the responsibility. And by that extension, so does the government, because we have a government in place, and I have written, so that ultimately the buck stops with Awami League or the government in Bangladesh. So it's a double failure, political failure, as well as administrative failure. So out of rage and frustration, people have been saying that, it is not Awami League, it is Awami Muslim League, because it's perceived to be favoring only Muslims. And that's why the criticism.
This is almost a repeat of the Ramu incident, where there was also a similar Facebook post which was derogatory. Muslims felt hurt and Muslims' feelings were hurt, and as a result there was the vandalized Buddhist temples and so on. Here, however, the local administration had given permission to Muslims holding a meeting protesting that very Facebook post from an account which was from the locality, and they had said they would demand justice for this kind of an insult. And allowing such a gathering to take place officially is basically calling for trouble, asking for trouble. Would you agree to that?
Yeah, of course. Not only that, when you have a Facebook post like that, and given that Bangladesh has got such a large number of spook agencies who are forever trawling the internet to find out who is abusing whom and what, and particularly in case of the national political leadership, they immediately act, and many people have already been jailed because of calling names. I'm shocked and surprised that the government didn't notice such a thing coming about. And if you've seen the person, then you would understand that it's almost impossible for him to have the ability to do this photoshopping. So somebody is behind this. They will always be behind this. Maybe it is Jamaat Islami, maybe it is ISI, as people will say, maybe it is XYZ, doesn't matter. Government's responsibility begins with when the trouble begins and how to manage the trouble. Government has summarily been unable to. You want to call it a failure? Yes. But I think what has hurt people is the attitude of the government. They seem to be thinking it's a minor issue. They seem to be thinking it's not worth bothering. And if you look at the language of the minister. Now he's been accused of saying that these are just Malaun, these are just the cursed Hindus. The point is, it no longer matters if he said it or not. Psychologically, it has been said, and it is impossible for Awami League now to avoid this stigma that Awami League actually has allowed a minister to speak this way. Awami League has allowed people to have a militant procession which attacked temples and which attacked homes. And psychological reaction is now best, particularly from the middle class, is on the Facebook. If you see the way people have reacted, it's enormous. I have never seen in my life, in all these years after 1971, this kind of a reaction. People are totally rejecting it, except for the bigots and the fanatics, who are close to Jamaat Islami and the Jongis and all that. People have rejected it. Unfortunately, Awami League doesn't seem to be behaving, talking or acting like here is a major issue. The words of Ubaidul Qadir is that don't lose courage. That is hardly what people want to hear. What people want to say is that damn you bigots, we will get you. Awami League also cannot ignore the fact that the people who have been arrested includes Awami League leaders. Awami League cannot ignore the fact, or the government or the administration cannot ignore the fact that they could have stopped it simply by using firearms. It is not that we are embarrassed and shy of using firearms. I really am shocked and surprised. The impact of this is enormous because it's not Nasirnagar only now. It has happened in at least 6 other places in Bangladesh, which means wherever there are these forces, they seem to be pretty active. And government has simply failed to understand that. Government has not been able to track these people who are capable of wreaking enormous damage. I think this is the worst possible message you have sent to the Hindu minority community, is that you are not safe, or even when you are unsafe, we cannot protect you, and here is the evidence that we cannot protect you. So I don't know what you will do. And we have sent a message to the extremists that we will not act against you in the way that will deter you. Ramu 4 years back and Nasirnagar 4 years later clearly shows we are not on the side of the minorities.
There's always a murmur, or some people make these allegations, but not quite directly. And then after a while it comes up, and that is that whenever these things happen, they allege certain quarters to be behind this. Some people are inciting it, there are instigators, and so we're not being able to, it's as if these are the reasons that we're not being able to handle this, address this right, because some people do not want this to die down. Now, and only earlier today, this is afternoon, we had reports coming in, they found idols of Lakhi in a mosque in Nasirnagar, which will naturally further deteriorate the matters, right? Now, how do you see it? What is really happening here?
Well, nobody in their right mind would try to put an idol in a mosque in Nasirnagar knowing what the situation is. If you look at Pratham Alo report, clearly people came from outside also. So people have also looted. So when this kind of a crowd is going somewhere to attack homes, everyone falls in. I mean, if you look at the history of 71, we have a glorious history of 71. We also have a shameful history of 71. We forget that we looted. We looted many homes. We killed many people just to get their property and their goods. So we have both histories. These are parallel histories. We are not nicest, cleanest, wonderful, bravest, the best in the world, like everyone else. But in this case, what is scary is that the government doesn't seem to be waking up to the fact that this is a national crisis. Now, there are several kinds of crises. If 100 people dies, that's one kind of a crisis. When 1 million people are scared, that is another kind of a crisis. When 100 million people are worried that this is not the country they wanted, and they are seeing unfold before their eyes a kind of a extremist influence, and the extremists, powerful, invulnerable extremists being able to call the shots, that's another kind of a crisis. And that's the crisis we are having. I fear, sadly, that the Awami League seems to hesitate to act because it thinks it will alienate Muslims. I would like to give this message to Army League. I'm a researcher, and one of the subjects I do research on is actually knowledge, attitude, practice, understandings of Bengali Muslims and inter-community relations. Nothing shows this is the kind of people they are. They are poor, they are more into their livelihoods, they have no reason to fight with a Hindu. No, it never happens. If you look at even at Nasir Nagar, somebody photoshopped and put this up and somebody, attacked. Somebody organized the attack. Ahle Sunnat and whatever should not have been allowed, should not have been given permission. But if you follow the sequence, language and logic of the minister in question, if you follow the sequence from the logic of the law enforcement agency who said, no, I didn't find anything wrong with the police route, it seems to be people who are not ready to take responsibility for what has happened. I agree, Awami League was caught on the wrong foot, but now that you've been caught on the wrong foot, go back to the right foot as quickly as possible. Awami League or the government doesn't seem to be doing that. Now, I think, and I hope this is an appeal that the Prime Minister should come out and say, look, this Bangladesh is for everyone. I am seriously saying that you will not be tolerated. It's no use asking Obaidul Qadir to say this. It does not work. It's no use asking the Home Minister to say this, whose credibility level is not very high. Only person who matters in Bangladesh politics and Bangladesh is Sheikh Hasina. So Sheikh Hasina has to come out and say, look, I'm with you. I will not let this happen. Like my father never let this happen. I'm not going to let you happen. Right now, till now, she is still silent. And I think that is hurting many people. People are saying, I want to be part of Bangladesh. When you say, I am a Malawan, you're really saying, I'm excluded. And that hurts. And the fact that so many people, including myself, am declaring that I'm a Malawan, it means how deeply it has affected us. We don't want this. Nobody wants this, except those who are doing it. And other people on the Facebook and everywhere who are bigots. Now, what did I do or others do when they are bigots? We block them on the Facebook. We don't want to talk to you. So, this is what the government should do. I'm not saying there are no bigots. There are many bigots. So, stop the bigots. And there are many ways of stopping the bigot. When there's a bigot is armed, we kill them. When the bigot is not armed, we shut them up. I think these actions are necessary.
That will be all for today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.